All right. Good evening, everyone. It is Workforce Wednesday, September 17th. I'm so glad that you all can join us. Last week we had an awesome presenter. This week we have another awesome presenter. In the meantime, I just want to remind you to stop by the Center for Urban Excellence website, check out our youth job spot. I know it says youth jobs, but there are tons of jobs on there for everyone of all ages. And so I'm also going to be sending some updates to Imari, who updates the youth job spot with a couple other opportunities that have come available today. We know that seasonal hiring is starting. So those of you who want a seasonal job, through Christmas or through New Year's, those jobs are coming about. So make sure you're checking out our website, the youth job spot, to make sure you are in the know. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and read in Mr. Kwaku, who has so graciously given up his time this evening to be with us. And so Kwaku was born and raised in Ghana, West Africa. He is, ooh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Can we edit this line? This beeping. I think he's beeping. All right. Forgive me, guys. We may have to start the recording over. Okay. All right. So born and raised in Ghana, West Africa, Kwaku Kankam, and help me if I'm wrong, moved to the United States 30 years ago along with his siblings to join their parents in Virginia. He completed his high school education in 1998 and went on to earn a Bachelor of Science in biology from Virginia Tech. Over a period of 3 years after graduating from Virginia Tech, he worked for the USDA, PepsiCo, and AT&T before going back to earn his MBA from Radford University in 2007. Well educated, come on. He was recruited by KONE Elevators, an international corporation based out of Finland with offices all around the world. KONE moved to California in April of 2008 as a sales representative. Oh, excuse me. KONE moved him to California in April of 2008 as a sales representative. Since 2008, Kwaku has held multiple roles in the vertical transportation space in account management, business development, modernization and sales, sales management, general management, and his current role as service operations manager for the Bay Area. Kwaku is a proud father of two and is a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, which he joined in 2002. So you guys go ahead and give some virtual snaps and claps for this young man who's going to come on and drop some gems on us. I may have mispronounced several things in there. So, but hopefully he will correct me on his name, or if I said the business wrong. So please correct me so that we are all in the know. But the floor is yours. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
All right. First of all, thank you, Anissa, for inviting me. We met over a year ago at a career fair, so we've been trying to make this happen for a while. So I'm glad we can finally make it, coordinate to make this happen. So thank you, and to the Center for Urban Excellence for what you do and for having me here so I can maybe talk for about 20 minutes about my company and what we do and some opportunities that may be available to people on this call. So again, my name is Kwaku Kankam Jr. The company's name is actually KONE. It's spelled cone, so everybody pronounces it as cone, but it's actually Finnish. So it's a Finland company. KONE actually means machine in Finnish. So I've been with the company since 2008 on and off. I've total amount of time in the vertical transportation industry, which is just a fancy way of saying we work in elevators and escalators. I've been in it for almost 18 years, and 16 of those have been with KONE. So I started with them, left briefly to check out some other companies within the industry, realized what I had in KONE. So I was gone for a little bit, and now I've been with them for a total of 16 years. So love the company, love what I do. And like I said, we deal with elevators and escalators. If you ever been in any building, whether it's a hotel, an airport, a hospital, anywhere that has elevators, we do business. And we even do residential ones. So people that have the money to have big buildings or houses that have elevators in them, we service those as well. So yeah, so we do a lot of business all over the world, and our office here is based in San Leandro. We have another one also in downtown San Francisco, and there's one also in Sacramento. So we have in California alone, we have about 6 offices, and throughout the U.S. we have 67 or 68 offices, but we have offices everywhere, and that's just to let people know if you're interested, if what we're talking about today is something you're interested in, you're not limited to just California. We have offices everywhere in the world. I'm originally from Ghana. We do business in Ghana as well. So in my role as the operations manager for the Bay Area, I'm responsible for the supervisors and the mechanics in the field that actually fix, repair, and install the elevators for in the Bay Area. So it's a pretty big responsibility because overall I have 6 supervisors that report to me. I have 4 administrative people that help me with paperwork and submit documents for us. And then in the field, I have about 56 guys that work for me. So I don't have direct supervision over all of them, but if you have the title of manager and everybody reports to you, eventually sometimes the issues all funnel up to you. So needless to say, I'm a pretty busy person, which I prefer because I don't want to be bored. I like the fact that my job keeps me busy, and it's a pretty good industry to be in. We work with the elevator union, so just they have a bargaining agreement that we have with the union, and most of the elevator companies pull from this union. And what that and what that does is it ensures that the employees that work in the field are guaranteed a certain salary and a certain amount of pay increases that comes with that agreement. We always do we have a 5-year agreement, and every 5 years, the major companies all sit down with the union, we renegotiate a contract, we establish, how much the pay raise is going to be. So you go into it every 5 years knowing that every year I'm going to get a 3% raise, a 4% raise, whatever it is, which is good to have. Most of us, my current role, I'm not a union member, but my promotion, my merit increase or my pay increase is not guaranteed. It's not, and it could be 2% one year, it could be 7% one year. It all depends on how the company does. But when you're part of the union, you're guaranteed that amount of whatever that the agreement is. So that's one of the things that we definitely want to preach as part of our partnership with the union. And then, of course, making sure that as part of being an operation manager, I'm pretty much responsible for the profitability of our business, making sure that we are profitable. So in other words, if we sell a job for $100 and we expect to make $20 in profit, that's my job to make sure that happens. It needs to be $20 in profit or more. We don't want it to be less. So that's part of my job, is to make sure that the company and the office stays profitable. Um, so basically, I'm going off some guidelines that Anissa provided me on some questions. So I was going to do a PowerPoint, but a friend of mine said, PowerPoints can be boring. Just speak from the heart, and just kind of have some bullet points. So if I look off, it's because I have some bullet points just to kind of let me know what I want to talk about. And then so one of the questions is, what inspired you to pursue this career? 2008, I'm not sure the age range of people on this call, but 2008 is kind of where we are now economically, where the economy was pretty bad. So it was hard to find a job. I'm coming out of finishing my master's. It was hard to find a job, and it was even harder to find a company that was willing to pay me for the fact that I had my master's. This company, I had 19 interviews, and this is the only company that was willing to pay me what I felt like I deserved. And they did it. They paid me, and they moved me out here to California. As part of the agreement was I had to be mobile to move wherever they needed somebody. Again, I told you we have offices everywhere. I told them California is one of the places I want to move to because I lived for 13 years in Virginia. I was open to the idea of moving far west to check out the West Coast. And I'm here now. I got stuck in the West Coast because I love it out here. So I haven't been back to Virginia since. So that's kind of what happened. Was at a career fair, similar to how I met Anissa. We were there just passing out resumes like to everybody that was hiring because, again, the employment environment for the economy at the time was pretty bad. So it was a matter of just trying to find something. And for my culture, we growing up, there was only our parents always wanted us to do 3 jobs. It was 3 jobs, and that was it. It was doctor, engineer, and lawyer. Those are the 3 jobs. It was nothing else. There was like, if you didn't do any of those 3 jobs, it was like, why did you even go to school? So I wanted to go the medical school path. That's why my undergrad was in biology. But my first 2 years in college made me realize that I'm not really a biology medical person. It was a dream I had when I was little, and my parents kind of held me to it. But as I got older, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do. I enjoy business. So I had already taken so many biology classes towards the med school. I stayed in the biology, but I started pivoting towards the business side. So that's why I went back and got my MBA to get my master's in business, because I wanted to be able to, have more options once I was done with that. So I've always wanted an industry that was always in demand. And I never thought about elevators, to be honest with you, until I got recruited by the elevator company. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, there are elevators everywhere. Like everywhere you go, there are elevators. You're gonna have a job forever. And true to that, in my 16 years now with this company, we've only had layoffs once. And we have over 50,000 employees, and we only laid off 100 people. And that was a big deal because we don't ever lay people off. People were actually like really, really freaked out about it because it never happens. During COVID, we did not lay anybody off because we needed people still need elevators. So nobody got laid off during COVID. There were some jobs where we reduced their hours from 40 hours to 32 hours for a while to try to keep everybody working. And then once things started picking up, everybody went back to 40 hours again. So there's job security in this industry. I want to make sure people understand that there's job security here. People need elevators. There's ADA requirements that require that if you're building this X amount of floors or tall, you have to have an elevator or some kind of wheelchair lift or some kind of ADA access. So it keeps us employed. It keeps us in an industry where we have job security. So even though my parents were not happy that I didn't go to medical school, they were happy that I'm in an industry that has job security. So that's something I wanted to make sure that's clear in my presentation, that you want an industry that has some security. Elevators and industries is it. I understand we live in the Bay Area or California, and IT is very attractive. And I'm not trying to here to persuade anybody not to pursue that. That's what you want to do. Please go for it. But there's also other opportunities that you may not be aware of. I did not know about elevators until I knew about it. A lot of people that work in this industry, their mom, their grandpa, somebody that have worked in the industry for years, and then they've known about it. So we have a lot of people who are like third, fourth generation in the elevator industry. I'm the only one. I was the first one in my family, and I'm still trying to get my family members to understand what I do so they can really pursue it, but they don't seem to really understand it. So it's what it is. They just know that I make good money and that I have a job, which is good. That's important. Yeah, so that after getting into the industry, I started in sales, and I've done all the different sales roles within the company. I got into sales management, so I actually moved to Colorado for a while. The company moved me there to manage that team over there. For about 7 years, I was there. Got numerous promotions there, and then my family wanted to move back here a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, and that's why we came back to the Bay Area. So I started in the Bay Area, went to Denver, now back in the Bay Area. So again, having the option to be able to travel and work in other parts of the country is very, very realistic in this industry. So another question that came up is, what kind of training do you need? I mean, it depends. So let's start with, the sales rep role that I started in. One of the requirements is that, it used to be very, very strict. You need to have a bachelor's degree. That's still a requirement, but it's not the only thing. We also would take relevant work experience in place of the bachelor's degree, because not everybody needs to go to college. College is great. I went to college. I went twice, basically. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I encourage anybody that wants to go. But I'm here to let you know that there's other things that you can do outside of just going to college. Like this industry in particular, once I share with you some of the money that the guys in the field make, if you are somebody that's good with your hands, you don't mind using your hands, you're good with tools, you can make some really, really, really good money in the elevator industry. It's amazing, that stuff that I've learned in my 15, 18 years now almost in this industry. So the requirement for me as a sales rep at the time was I needed to have a bachelor's degree or higher. Again, this was the only company that actually paid me more because I had a master's degree at the time. So fell into it in that sense, and it's been great. If you're going to go the path of what I mentioned about being in the union, they have an apprenticeship program. It's a 5-year apprenticeship program, but I wanted to make sure that people understand, again, it's not all about the money, because if it was about money, I probably would have jumped to more companies by now. I wouldn't be with the same company for as long as I have. But again, we want to make sure that we're getting compensated properly for what we do. So as an apprentice starting off in this industry, you will start making $42 an hour. That's where you start. Okay. 6 months into it, you go to $46 an hour. And then every year it goes up. Again, because it's part of the union, they have negotiated rates. And this is what it is today. These numbers will go up by 4% next year. Every year it goes up. Okay. So by the time you become an elevator mechanic, my current mechanics make $84.05 an hour. If you survive the 5-year apprenticeship, you take all the tests along the way, you pass it, you become a mechanic. right now, today, you're making $84 an hour. $84.05 an hour. You multiply that by 2080, which is how many hours people work typically in a year, you're making $175,000 a year, guaranteed, before taxes, of course. But how many of us make that kind of money now without some kind of college degree or whatever that makes you, qualifies you for that? You don't need a college degree to become a mechanic. $84 an hour is what they make. If you're really good, we really want to keep you. I have the power. My supervisors have the power. They'll come to me. We'll talk about it. Some people, we call it plus pay. We pay them 5% on top of the $84, 10%. Some guys make as high as 30% on top of that because they are that good. This is a high demand industry. If you're that good, we'll pay you to do your job. I have people that work for me that make more money than me. Let me say that one more time. I have people that work for me, but they make more money than I make because the skill that they have, I don't have that. So I pay them more money than I make so they can make sure these people's elevators run and the customers pay us so that I get paid. So that's one of the things that people don't. People don't always get a good thing because the guy makes this much, the boss makes that much too. I make good money, don't get me wrong, but these guys make really good money. And the job is also, I'll be very honest too, it's not that it's a very dangerous job, but it can be dangerous because of what you're dealing with. You're on top of elevators, you're on the bottom of elevators, you're working on that. So there's a lot. We preach safety every day. We have safety stand downs every week. We have what we call job hazard analysis before you start a job. We want to make sure that we preach safety. We always tell the guys, we want you to go home. You came home to work with 5 fingers. We want you to go home with 5 fingers. We don't want you to get hurt. We don't want you to tweak your back. We want you to be working safely. So we definitely preach safety, but because it is also part of the reason why they compensate the way they are, because there's a certain level of risk or danger that comes with this job, right? But pays really well. I had a meeting with the union rep about a month ago, and one of the things, again, I can't see everybody on the camera, but one of the things that we talked about was the need to get more people of color and women into the union, right? This has been historically a mostly Caucasian industry for decades. And now, we're trying to get more people of color. And I'm finding very few people that look like me in the management role in my company or in this industry for that matter. So trying to get more people of color in the industry overall, but especially into the union because there's a lack of us there. So that's one thing they're looking for. So when we're done, Anissa has all my contact information. Anybody that's interested, I'm giving you my permission to share my email, my cell phone number. Give me a call. We can talk. I can give you some pointers. I can get you in touch with the elevator union. I can get you in touch also with the electricians union. There's other unions out there, the metal workers union, not just that. If you're interested in an office job, talk to me. We have openings right now here in the Bay Area for different roles that are entry-level positions that you can apply for. And depending on your skill level, your qualification, we might be able to get you at least an interview to see where that can go, right? So there's a lot of opportunity right now, even right here in my office, that we could possibly, hook you up with. So I just want to make sure that I share that as well. And again, Anissa, please feel free to share my information with whoever might be interested. One other question you asked, what are some of the challenges that we have in our job? Everybody thinks the elevator is the most important elevator in the world. I don't care who it is. It could be the person that has, an apartment or a hospital or an airport. Everybody thinks the elevator is the most important. So for us, we have to prioritize what is the most important one. And sometimes that becomes challenging because you have 2 elevators go down at the same time. You have to figure which one do you want to go with. So we're in the Bay Area, so let's use this as an example. Since I've been in the Bay Area, everybody keeps telling me the next big earthquake is coming. I'm like, please, Lord, don't let this happen. But when it does happen, if it does happen, we have a priority. We go to hospitals first. Medical is always going to be first. We need to get people who are in a compromised situation because they have medical challenges in a safe space. So we go to medical and then we go from there. So we have a certain way that we use the same mentality when we're prioritizing what elevators go down. If a building only has 1 elevator in it and it goes down, we prioritize that. We want to make sure if somebody needs an elevator to go to whatever floor they live on or whatever floor their office is on, that we get the elevator up and running as soon as possible. So that is one of the things that, some of the challenges that we face, but we work through it. Part of us and the operation team, our mentality is just make it happen. We have to find a way to make it happen. We don't make excuses. We don't try to say, oh, this and that. No, something goes down. It needs to be fixed. We find a way to make it happen. Again, I just told you how many people that work for me. You're dealing with a lot of personalities, people from different kind of backgrounds, and having to navigate that can be challenging in itself. So you have to understand, how I talk to Anissa will not be the same way I talk to, I just see it on my screen. I just say, whoever SMH is, I cannot talk to you guys the same way. Everybody has a different way. So kind of learning the personalities of 60 plus people and knowing how to talk to each person can be challenging. But after a while of doing this, you get used to it, and you know that you have to deal with this person this way. This person is motivated differently than that person. This person can take direct feedback really well. Some people you have to massage the feedback in a way that they can be more receptive to it. So we have to find different ways to work with different people. And the same goes with our customers. Every customer is different. Every customer's needs are different. Again, being a Bay Area, there's so many IT companies here. IT companies have zero patience. They think everything needs to be up and running as soon as possible. So we have to, sometimes we have to temper the expectations, but we also know that we have to move with haste and make sure that things happen quickly. And then making people, just feel part of the solution is one of my goals. Is like, even though I'm the leader, yes, but when we're coming up with a solution, I try to involve everybody. I want to ask everybody what their opinion is. Like, what do you think we need to do? I don't want it always to be the Kwaku show, and I'm the one that's dictating everything that needs to happen. Matter of fact, I prefer for my employees to come up with a solution, because I've learned if the solution is coming from you, you are more likely to make sure that that solution works, versus if I tell you, you're probably just going to try to do it, yes, but the motivation is not always the same. So for me, I always try to include everybody in the decision-making process of, here's what the issue is, how do we resolve it, what do you think, right? And I've been doing this long enough to have been through most of the scenarios and most of the situations, but I'm always open to hear other people's feedback. And sometimes the people will tell me something or provide a solution that is definitely better than mine. And I'm not that person that why my ego is too big. I'm like, that is much better than what I was thinking. Let's do that instead. Because at the end of the day, we all get to share in the glory when something good happens, just like we all should share the blame. So at the end of the day, that's one of the things I think has made me successful, is the fact that I include the people that work for me in my decision making. Um, our job is basically just problem solving. We deal with problem solving all the time. Every time an elevator goes down, we're having to come up with a solution and a way to solve the problem. How quickly can we get the elevator back up and running? We also try to be proactive in our problem solving, and we have a sales team that help with that. Again, like I said, I started in sales, so the operations team and the sales team work really well together to be proactive in letting customers know your elevator is 20 years old, your elevator is 30 years old. There are parts that we cannot get anymore. If it breaks down, it's going to be down for a long time, because some of these parts we have to take it off, ship it to New York to the one person in the world that still knows how to work on that part to fix it, ship it back to us. So we need to be proactive in planning, and you need to invest in your equipment. So that's one other big part of our job, is letting customers know the budget for what they need to do. So a lot of times, if you live in a building and you're like, this elevator is always not working, and you're blaming the elevator company, you'll probably need to blame the people that manage the building, because we've told them they need to improve and upgrade the elevators. They don't always have the finances to do it. We get that part of it too. It's not like money doesn't grow on trees. I just told you how much our mechanics make per hour. So imagine how much we charge guys, the customers per hour, because my time is valuable. So when we give them our billing rates, includes my time, includes everybody else that has to work on this time. So our billing rates are not cheap. They're pretty high. So typically, to do some of these improvements, it's a big dollar amount. That's why the reason we try to be proactive, so they can budget for it way ahead of time. So when the time comes to improve, to make it a upgrade, or to modernize the elevator, which means you're bringing it up to today's code, that you have the money for it. Because we're talking, sometimes, depending on how big or tall the building is, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, depending on what it is. So it's expensive work. And then just again, going back, just always trying to prioritize, the things that we do, how best we try to make sure that everybody gets, doesn't. I don't want the small customer we have to feel like they're not as important as the big customer. So you have to find a way to spread the love to everybody, and we do a pretty good job of it. But sometimes, there's only so many resources we have. So every once in a while, we're going to find a situation where we're not able to get, back to customers as quickly as we want to. But in those cases, it's all about communication. Communication is the biggest part of our business. It's just the business. Any relationship, communication is key, right? If a customer loves us, it's because we communicate really well. When they are unhappy with us, it's because we dropped the ball and we did not communicate really. It's one or the other. It's always, if we communicate well, even if it's bad news, if you communicate it, ahead of time where they don't have to come to us and ask us, and we are proactive with letting them know why the elevator is still down, they're still not happy about it, but at least we told them. If they have to come to us and say, why didn't you let me know the elevator was down? Why did I have to come to you? That's never a happy customer when that happens. So we always strive to say safety is number one, communication is number two. Let's make sure we communicate, right? Another question you have here, Nisa, other than money, what are the benefits and perks of your job? We have really, really good benefits. So our company, we just recently went away from it. We used to actually have a pension with our company. Most companies don't have a pension anymore. But again, remember, we are a European company, so we had a pension program for a very long time. They just took that pension money, they rolled it into our 401k, and they increased our 401k match from 4% to 6%. But the longer you've been with the company, they match it even more. So for me, the longer I'm approaching 20 years. So as I get to 20 years, they're gonna match it more. Same thing, it's similar to how they do our PTO time, our time off. Is like the longer you're with the company, the more time you can take off. So our benefit program is great. The benefit program for the union is just as great, if not even better, because they have a really good insurance, health insurance program with the union. So do we. We have a really good one as well. My insurance covers my family really well, and everything we need is covered. So really good benefits. There's a really good work-life balance. Where I'm sitting right now is where I work from at least 2 or 3 times a week. I go to the office, but I work from home quite a bit whenever I need to. Like this week, I'm working from home 3 days. So most weeks I work from home 2 days. But being able to work from home, the work-life balance is really important for us. We want people to be able to take time off and get away from work, refresh. I do a lot of traveling, so just to be able to kind of refresh, reset, and come back and feel re-energized to work. Obviously, if you're going to be in the elevator union and you're a mechanic, you cannot work from home. You cannot fix elevators from home. Unfortunately, you have to be in the field, but it is what it is. But the one thing I would say, and it may sound corny or cliche, but people always ask me, why did you come back to KONE? The people is why I came back to this company. The people here are amazing. Like I've worked with some amazing people in my time here, and I couldn't say enough good things about them. So the money is good, yes, but if the people that you work with suck, you're not going to stay there. It's just what it is. If you have a bad manager, like people always say, people don't quit the jobs, they quit the managers. If your managers are not good, you're not going to stay there. We have really good people and good managers. And for that reason, I have no reason to go anywhere else. I get offers all the time. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I get hit up in all places about opportunities. A lot of times it's more money, but I've left before. Like, I remember I said I left before. I learned my lesson there. That's why I came back. So I like the people I work with for that reason. I'm not looking to leave to go anywhere else. So the work-life balance and the people are the reason why I choose to work at KONE, because it's a really good company to work for, and it's just overall the benefits are amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. And the last thing I had on here was just kind of, advice for people. If you're interested in this industry, if what I said today sounds good to you, again, you have my information, reach out to me. I'll point you in the right direction. We are one of 4 major elevator companies. So it's not just KONE, there's 3 other major ones. And then there's a lot of smaller companies as well, especially in the Bay Area. You can look into any of those companies and see what opportunities may be out there as well. And then, of course, right now, I said we have some entry-level positions. So if you go to kone.com/careers, I'll type that into the message box before we are done. So you can go there, and then you can filter down for the offices in the Bay Area. Again, we have one in San Leandro, San Francisco, we'll say downtown San Francisco, and then Sacramento. Those are the 3 offices that we have in our area. And the entry-level jobs will be the sales positions. Any job that says coordinator or administrative or office manager, those are entry level. And then the last one, I put it on here just because it is an entry level position. We have warehouse drivers as well. I don't know how much the warehouse drivers make, but that's another position that people come in. One of the guys, good friend of mine, when I first started 17 years, he was our warehouse manager. He's now a mechanic. He's making $84 an hour. He actually makes more than that. He makes $84 plus 12.5% because he's that good. So he started off in the warehouse and he worked his way. So we don't dictate who goes to the union. Because he was working in the warehouse, he got exposed to the union existence. So he started figuring out how to work his way in there. And then he went through the process, did the interviews, went through the apprenticeship program, and now he's an elevator mechanic making over $200,000 a year. We have a lot of overtime opportunity as well. So when our guys work overtime and the union guys work overtime, most jobs pay you 1.5% for overtime. They get paid 1.7%. If they work on a Sunday or a holiday, they get double time automatically. So you can make $168 an hour on a Sunday when you work. And some of them are doing it. A lot of them actually are doing it because we have a lot of overtime work. So that's all I have. I don't have any, I think I covered everything. I did. Yes, I covered everything so far. I want to leave it out open so we have some time for some questions if there are any.
Nice. Well, let's give it up for Kwaku. He ran it down. I don't know if you all listened to what he said, but I heard apprenticeship opportunities. I heard some positions are opening at $42 an hour. You have some at $84 an hour, plus 12%, plus different percentages on top. Some folks are making $175K a year. He's saying the benefits are great. They moved him from Virginia to California. He's been to Colorado. So there are so many opportunities, and it's an industry that I don't think a lot of us look into. And so it's one of those things where it sounds like there's longevity, there's job security. I mean, I feel like an elevator and escalator in my building every day at work. If I'm feeling a little bit lazy, had too many cookies, I'm on the elevator. And so there's just so many opportunities. And so again, check it out, guys. I did drop his info in the chat so you can connect with him. But Kwaku, there was a question in the chat. Someone asked, is KONE, now that I got it right, a felon-friendly employer?
What?
Are they a felon-friendly employer? If someone has been involved, if someone has a criminal background, is KONE willing to consider them?
Yes, absolutely. We have we do a background check. Yes, we just ask that you don't lie about your background. I've hired people with felon backgrounds before, so it's not going to be something that's going to stop you from getting a job. But disclose that we do a very, very deep dive into everybody's background. So matter of fact, when I did my training in 2008, there was 11 of us in my training class, and I was the only one that had never been arrested before, because we got one day we were just kind of sharing, stories about college or whatever. Most of them were not felonies, but there were two people who had felonies and they got hired.
Nice,
So,
nice.
and it's still, one of them is still working for us. I mean, all of them are still in the industry. Some of them have left the company, but they all are still working in the elevator industry, because once you get in the industry, it's really hard to get out of it because of the benefits and everything that comes with it. So yes.
Nice. And they're a fair chance employer. Everybody can go and get a job.
Yes.
Entry-level positions, you can work your way up. I don't really know what more do you all want? Like, go and get it. Share this information. Kwaku did share in the chat www.kone.com/careers, and I'll also drop it in our follow-up email so that you have that information. Listen, so many gems were dropped, so many opportunities to get connected, so many positions available. Like, please go and check it out. Don't miss out on an opportunity. If it piqued your interest, I'm sure you can ask additional questions, and we can get them over to Kwaku. Someone said, Miss Olani, you said, thank you for your response. Kudos for being a second chance employer. And so if you all have no additional questions, I'm going to release you for the night. We will see you next Wednesday. If you have an interest in working in security, please hop on next Wednesday at 5:30. We're going to have Clinton Adihosa from Agile Security. So pop on with us. I know many of you have gone forward to get your guard card, so there's going to be opportunities we're going to discuss there. But if not, go and have dinner with your family and friends. Have a great night. Thank you so much for coming to Workforce Wednesday. Good night, everybody. And I'm going to stop recording. Listen, I might need to learn to work with my hands. Fix an elevator or two.
Thank you.
Good night, Anaja.